and all is they are all visible faces. Bhagyasri, okay, Bhagyasri and four others. The four other four I am not able to see. But anyway, we are considerably present to have an interaction. So I'll start with this research methods. So what is research? Let me now tell you the concepts clearly. We all believe in the scientific quest for understanding. That is our curiosity all we're having. We want to know why we think, why we feel, why we behave, and why people are differing from each other. And in the same situation, why people behave in a different way. So psychologists or scientists, they have to answer the question systematically. So such questions are there placed before us. Why this is like this? Why this is like that? But the why has to be explained. So here we have a theory buildings. A theory is there, like theory of motivation or theory of learning. They are built in some assumptions, some experience, and some inferences. And here we are having to organize new information into a coherent body and explain the events, then make predictable events, why, how it will happen, what will happen. So it will have to predictability. So taking all these things, we build up theories also. So all these things we get from research. So we have curiosity. We utilize the curiosity in finding new things, and we get the new data. We analyze this, and we make conclusions. Then we want to get answer to our curiosity. That is research. So now research by the very term is composed of two syllables, re and search. So re means is a prefix. Re means again. Re thinking, rethinking. Re is a prefix. It means again. So search. Re plus search. Search means to investigate, to examine closely, carefully, or to test and try, or to probe. So search means to probe. Search means to investigate. So together, the research term indicates describing a careful, systematic, patient study and investigation in some field of knowledge. And here the simplest meaning of research is to search for facts or search for answers to research questions and solution for the problem. This is the simplest meaning of research. The scientific research is a systematic and objective attempt to provide answers to some questions. Therefore, the scientific research which you have to discuss may be defined as a systematic and empirical analysis and recording of controlled observation. So this is scientific research. So here, different people have defined research in different ways. The Encyclopedia of Social Science defines research as the manipulation of generalizing to extend, connect, or verify knowledge. Curlinger defined research as a systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical proposition. Burns 94 defined research as a systematic investigation to find answers to a problem. So now, roughly speaking, Research means to investigate, to get some answer to our questions, to get some answer to our queries, or to get a solution to the problem. Now the question is, what are the criteria of good research? We are doing research, no doubt, but then there should be good research. Research cannot be a flop. Research cannot be an armchair finding. Research cannot involve guess. So research, here you mean a good research. And what are the criteria of good research? Number one, the purpose of a research should be clearly defined. The common concepts in the research should be also operationally defined. How the concepts are operated. So what concepts we are using? So the common concepts are there, the purpose of the research. What do you want to do? What the purpose involves? So the common concepts have to be clearly outlined. Then we come to research procedure. The procedure of research should be precise, planned, focused, and appropriately described. And thirdly, research design. The design of research should be carefully planned to generate results to maintain objectivity. So it's going to be planned so that the result will be objective. Objective means it can be verifiable. The research report should be as much possible frank also, enough to gauge effects of the findings. This means the research report, you are having a report after the research done. It must be frank and it must indicate the effects of the findings. And then the data analysis in the research report should be adequate to reveal the significance, and the method of analysis employed be appropriate. The data you are analyzing, the method should be appropriate and the report should be adequate to reveal its significance. Something you are getting, you should know what the significance. Unless it is significant, why should you try to know, should you get the answer? Or what should be the answer of use? So lastly, we should see a good research should be valid and reliable. Or the data you are getting is having validity and reliability. So all these things are the criteria of good research. Number one, purpose. Number one, procedure. Number three, design. Number four, report. Number five, data analysis. Number six, validity and reliability. They are the criteria of research. But why do you make research? What are the objectives of good research? So the objectives, as you find, is the purpose. The purpose of the research is to discover answers to questions through application of scientific procedures. The main aim of the research is to find out the truth which is hidden, and your duty is to disclose the truth, discover the truth. So here the study and the specific purpose and the research objective can be grouped in different ways, because the study involves purpose. We should see how the studies are made, from the studies what we get, what are the objectives. So the objectives of the research is, number one, to gain familiarity with a phenomenon or to achieve new insights into a phenomenon. For example, anything maybe exploratory study. Suppose you are going to research in flora and fauna, moving in jungles, getting new plants, discovering new things. So that is explorative study. So actually, the research helps you to be familiar with a phenomenon or to achieve new insight about something. Secondly, the research portrays accurately the characteristics of a particular individual or situation or group. Through research, you try to know about a concept or about a person or about any object accurately. That is the descriptive research studies you find out like that. Thirdly, through research, you determine the frequency with which something occurs. Something is occurring with what frequency? Suppose we are going to study about the solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. Then how frequency they are occurring? Or suppose something about some events in the natural setting. So how frequently they are occurring? With the frequency. That is also indicated through research. Determine the frequency. That how something is associated with something else. Maybe diagnostic studies are there like this. How this associated with that. If these and these are associated, we say they are linked. So in diagnostic studies, we get this scope to determine the frequency. And lastly, in the research, the objective of research is to test a hypothesis of causal relationship between variables. So this leads to that. It's a cause-effect relationship we find through hypothesis building. So through research, we find or we test a hypothesis to find out or to indicate the causal relationship between variables. Suppose you are giving more manure, we are observing whether the product is increasing or decreasing. So now we are going to find causal relationship. Suppose it is increasing, so we make a conclusion. If you give more manure, there is more product. That is the causal relationship. And here we make hypothesis. First of all, we make a hypothesis that if you give more manure, suppose in your field you give more cow dung, then you are making a hypothesis. If you give more cow dung, the vegetables, the fruits or the products will be more. This is the hypothesis. Then you get the study, then you get the experiment done, and you found out the truth. Then when you found that really the applying of cow dung is increasing your products, then now you are sure, now the objective is that you got the causal relationship, the cause is this cow dung and the result is more product. So now the causal relationship is clearly established through hypothesis building. So hypothesis building is very important, and before any study we make hypothesis because we want to test the objectivity through causal relationship. So the research is just the fountain of knowledge. For the sake of the knowledge and an important source of providing guidelines for solving different business, personal, professional, governmental or social problems. Thus, this research helps you to give you suitable solutions. So what is, then you could know the criteria of research, you could know the objectivity or objectives of research. Then how can you say it's a good research? I told you that we are all telling about good research. Research could be something else like after finding, as I told you. So, what is good research? Which is verifiable, which is objective. And what are the quality of the good research? So, number one, a good research is systematic. It means the research is structured according to set of rules. It follows certain steps. The systematic research invites creative thinking. So here we avoid guess. We avoid intuition. So here it is systematic. Number two, a good research is empirical. The empirical means when you get a conclusion in a research, the conclusion is based upon hardcore evidence. And the evidence is gathered from information collected from real life experiences or observation. This is the external ability to research results, because the findings are through observations, through life experiences, real life experiences, empirical. Empirical means not guessing. Actually, empirical means it is depending on the observation and life experiences. And thirdly, the good research is valid and verifiable. So here, the researcher selects reliable and valid instruments for collecting data and uses some statistical measures for accurate description of the data also. Whatever you conclude on the basis of finding is correct and can be verified by yourself. So whatever you find in the experiment or research, you can again also verify. If you repeat it, the same will come. So the result can be verified by yourself. Others also can verify. If you are not doing, others can do and also get the same thing. So it's verifiable. Then fourth, a good research is logical. Logical means it is guided by the rules of reasoning and logical process of induction. Induction means general to specific. So induction, general to specific, and deduction, specific to general. So research carries this view that it must be general to specific and specific to general. In fact, logical reasoning makes research feasible and more meaningful in the context of decision making. Suppose you are getting a result of 10 cases, 10 persons. From the 10 findings, general findings, 10 findings, you make a specific conclusion. That is general to specific, induction. And you get a conclusion. That conclusion is now applicable to others. That is specific to general. So induction and deduction involves in good research. That is done because of it is guided by rules of reasoning and logical process. Then good research develops theories and principles. If you make a good research, you can build up a theory which is very helpful in accurate prediction regarding the variables under study. The researcher makes sound generalization regarding the whole population. Thus, promoting a generalization or theory about these factors indicates a theory building that is found out through research, good research. And lastly, the good research research is replicable. The designs, the procedures, the results are all replicable. The researcher can repeat it, others may also repeat it, and may assess their validity. Thus, the result found by you will also be obtained by another person. This means the result is replicable as well as transmittable. So all these are quality of good research. The research process. Now what is the research? What is the process? I don't know. The research which you say in empirical investigation in any field requires the use of scientific method to observe, to measure, and to experiment. Even if you would never do have any scientific research in your life, mastering information on psychological research will be also useful. You can improve your critical thinking skills by learning how to ask the right questions about behavior, how to evaluate the answers you find. And in psychological research, we say psychological research because you are doing research in psychological fields like behavior, like mental experiences, like mental concepts. The psychological research can be divided in two major categories. Number one is getting an idea. So here in research, basically we are having two considerations. Number one, getting an idea, that is the context of discovery, and then testing it. You got an idea, then you test it. Then a context of justification. So there are two basic considerations. One is context of discovery or getting an idea, and testing it or context of justification. The context of discovery or getting an idea is the initial phase of research. So here, the observations, the belief, the information, and general knowledge all lead someone to come up with a new idea or a different way of thinking. That is context of discovery, because here it is something you come with a new idea. And here, in the context of discovery, we will find, number one, the role of theories like hypotheses, like paradigm designs in research, with the hypotheses and paradigms. The role of theories actually help you to get up with new ideas. Researchers begin with the assumption. How to start research? You assume something. Researchers begin with the assumption of determinism, or the idea that all events, physical, mental, or behavioral, result from a physical cause factor. An assumption. They also assume that behavior and mental processes follow set of pattern. So basically, everything starts with an assumption. The psychological theories in general attempt to understand how brain, mind, behavior, environment, they function and how they are related. The value of theory is often measured in terms of new ideas or hypotheses. So here, the relationship between two or more events or variables are indicated. As you know, the variables is any factor that changes or varies. So here, they have to set up the links with variables. What are the variables? How they are changing? Who makes them change? Similarly, paradigm is a model of function. Paradigm means model is a model of the function and interrelationship. Design, a way of thinking. And here, these are all the theoretical buildings that are coming under the context of discovery. Secondly, we come with research bias. So here, in the context of discovery, we face this research bias. So in the research, sometimes we have some problems regarding conclusions, and when you get the new findings, any discovery, that is also mixed with so many other factors to which we call research biases. Bias means, bias is something like a type of internal affiliation, weakness. The biases challenges our correctness. This bias challenges the research to remain objective or to remain free from other criticism. Most of our ideas and beliefs are probably linked to certain bias because they are influenced by your opinions or values. A variety of bias have been found to distort people in the data collection. Bias is a common thing. Everybody having it also. You are sitting with some person or not sitting with some person, sitting at one place or not sitting there somewhere. So everybody has some impression that is called bias. Your judgment, you are thinking in this way or that way, the value system, that is good, that is bad. So that all sometimes indicate bias. A variety of bias have been found to distort people in their impression. So their impressions about something is with bias. So now the bias could be of 4 or 5 types. One of them is external influences. For example, our culture or the media can influence your behavior. You just accept one thing or do not accept something, maybe due to your cultural concept or maybe due to your media effect. For example, suppose it is a festive day, you are going to temple. Somebody who is coming with a sari or a dhoti, you are having good impression. They are good people. And somebody is coming with other dress, modern dresses, you say they are not good. Because they bias, cultural bias. Culture has told you that you are going to temple, you must behave like gentle. You must be surrendering. Your dress, your behavior, your manner, everything must be surrendering. You are going to temple. So naturally, This external influence, your culture, and media also. If media, something is praised in media, media is going to praise about something, then also you see you are praising that. You like that. So the media effect, the cultural effect, that is external influence. So because of that, your judgment will also be influenced. That's the bias. Somebody without cultural effect or without this media effect going, then that judgment will be more bias free. The another bias is personal bias. The personal bias also distorts estimating or evaluating as a result of personal beliefs or attributes or past experience. Earlier, suppose somebody did not behave properly with you, then you have a bias. When you see again, you are estimating him not a good person. A bias, personal bias. Maybe somebody is sitting with you, sitting beside or not talking to you because he is depressed or having something heavy mind or because in a hurry. But you don't know all these things because he did not talk to you. You develop an impression, not a good man. So again, when you see, you try to avoid or to change the seat. That is because of personal bias. Thirdly, there is also another bias called observer bias. This operates when some events are not taken as meaningful by some and not taken meaningful by others. So here, some events are meaningful for you, so you are having good bias, where give you good opinion. Something not having very good meaning for you, then you are not giving good opinion. Also, there are expectancy bias, where your expectation affects the observation of behavior. So now see, the expectation bias also influences the result and the correctness is affected. For example, suppose in the class somebody is acquiring good position, supposing somebody is getting fast position. You ask some questions, and this fast position student could not say. When third, second, fourth people could say, then I will say he could have said maybe he is ill or maybe he is having some problem like that, because you expect some from him that he should have told the right answer. If you could not say, then you say something has been there. Otherwise, he could have told you correctly. So here, the expectation or expectancy has a bias. So finally, there is the placebo bias. The placebo bias operates when people strongly want to believe a treatment is successful. For example, many people may claim to feel better after taking a placebo for the sugar pill. This is a very interesting thing, placebo bias, because I have also experimented. Somebody was not able to read, not getting concentration during examination. So he was given some, so we give some prasad. You say, this is Lord Shiva's Paduka or Lord Shiva's prasad. You take it, you will read, you will concentrate and you remember. Then he took and he remembered, he told, yes, it is working, I remembered, I did well. So that is placebo effect. Or you give some sugar pill, say I am better, placebo effect. inject, not any medicine, only just syringe injection. Then they feel that is I'm getting improving, I'm getting better effect. That is placebo effect. So placebo effect actually not any reality is there, but a psychological process. The desire for a drug or a therapy need to work enough to achieve the desired results. So the placebo bias. So people they do well or show better result because they have been given some type of treatment. Placebo is there. The treatment not relevant, but still any treatment could also increase the results. So that is all about context of discovery. So I am coming to context of justification. For the context of justification, the second phase of research. Here, the results are prepared for useful communication with the scientists. So here, they are meeting the challenge of collecting accurate data and reliable evidence that will generate valid conclusion. So the scientific method is a set of procedure for gathering and interpreting evidence to limit the errors and to yield dependable conclusion. So here we are coming to the conclusion part, how the conclusion should be said so well. So the scientific attitudes and values also associated with research processes. The scientists are motivated by curiosity about the unknown. They are using scientific method and they come to the conclusion, and secrecy is the ban. So in the study, in the investigation, there should be no secret. With every, it is open to public. Everybody knows the result and it is verifiable. They can verify this. No secrecy. And secondly, there should be objectivity, safeguards in research process also. These objectivity safeguards consist of procedural safeguards, standardization, operationalization, and avoiding of bias. The procedural safeguards are used to increase the objectivity. Like you are recording observation, you are recording data thoroughly and clearly keeping the record. So complete maintenance or complete records of observation and data, it is called procedural safeguard. Here we make a scientific reports. The reports are written in a similar form and published by the organization. The reports communicate ideas to the entire scientific community. And the procedural safeguard. So how through procedure you safeguard the objectivity? Secondly, standardization. Standardization means using uniform, consistent procedure in all projects of data collection. So we are collecting data. So receive the data. You should receive the same instruction and treat it the same way. While collecting data, you ask all the subjects to sit in the classroom or in the place, and you give instructions in a similar way. All students or all subjects are given instructions similar way, the same instruction also, and are treated also in the same way. So by applying general treatment for all participants, the researchers ensure they will have the same basic experience. The third safeguard, you see the first safeguard, procedural safeguard, second safeguard, standardization. The third safeguard is operationalization. An operational definition of a concept defines the concept in terms of how it is measured or what operations produce it. Researchers must also safeguard the objectivity by avoiding bias. The bias from external influence or the bias for personal belief, the bias by human expectation, they are distorted data. So that must be taken care of. And researchers also should use various control procedures to avoid such bias, and test hypotheses in ways that are fair and error-free. So now I come to the steps in research process. The first step is identification of the problem. As I told you, the research starts from the curiosity. So when you have your own curiosity, you can ask set of questions. Why this happening? Why this happening? All these things. Why not this way? Why this way? The result of the curiosity to which you want to find an answer. That gets you a problem. So what are the events that cause or determine a given behavior or response that you try to collect? What is the nature of behavior or action? How do you link to the other actions and the behaviors that you want to know? There's a curiosity. You have to study on that. Or also, what are the relationship of internal psychological process with the behavioral phenomenon, internal state and behavioral phenomenon? What is the link that you want to know? So all these things indicate your problem. And thereby, you identify the problem. So here, also, when you settle the problems, you have to evaluate this problem in the light of funds, time, and expertise or knowledge available. Because you are going to make a study whether funds permit or not, there is time or not, whether you have the expertise or not. So here, it is equally important also to identify any gaps in your knowledge of relevant discipline of statistics. You should know. You should know some discipline like statistics because you're going to research. It is useful, it is necessary. So the such problems when you identify, you have to go in such a way, long way. But you have to see some 4 points when you go to identify. Number one, this thing to which you are going to investigate has not been investigated before. This means you are going to do something new. Number two, the problem you are going to identify should contribute to the understanding of your question. Number three, the data available to investigate And lastly, your problem, when you're going to sort out the problem, this will lead to another question also. Very possibility, because you're going to go study thoroughly. Maybe there is an option, they may go to some other question, they may lead some other question. Also, for identifying a good solvable problem, the investigator undertakes the review of literature. The scientific research includes review of the relevant literature. This means in the literature, some studies have been done in that way, or a similar way, so that it will help you to identify your problem. The main purpose of review literature is fourfold. There are four purposes. Number one, the review literature gives an idea about the variables which have been found to be conceptually and practically important. Number two, the review of the literature also provides work. Number three, the review also helps the researcher in systematizing the expanding and growing body of knowledge. This helps in drawing useful conclusions. And fourth, the review of literature helps in redefining the variables and determining the meanings and relationship among them, so that the researcher can build up a case as well as a context for further investigation. And this review of literature are coming out from different sources like journals, like books, like abstracts, like indexes, like periodicals, and recently also you can in computer psycho info, there is a system effective tool from which also you get the technical literature. Our next step is formulation of a hypothesis. So here the third important step, actually the identification of the problem involves review, because that is all mutually helping. So now it comes to second step, that is formulating hypothesis. So here actually you make a hypothesis. The hypotheses are generally derived from earlier research findings or existing theories or personal observations and experiences. The hypothesis is a tentative statement showing the relationship between variables under study. So here the hypothesis helps you at the gathering process. So actually no hypothesis should be formulated after data is collected. So hypothesis is a basic process because that gives you a direction. And third step is identifying, manipulating, and controlling variables. So when you are going to make a research, so you are finding out the variables. During the experiment, there is one independent variable, there is one dependent variable, there is some external variable. We are going to find out the relationship or establish the relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. Sometimes there are some extraneous variables which are uncontrolled variables, which may affect also the dependent variable. This is a relevant variable. If controlled, result will be more scientific. I'm giving an example. Suppose I'm going to give you an experiment like on memory test in the laboratory. I show you a list of nonsense syllables. Then I ask you how many you have remembered. So now here you are seeing the items on syllables and the memory is your dependent variable, how much you memorize. In that time also you'll find the temperature of the room, so the fans are out of order or the electric has gone very much hot in the classroom. That is also affecting your dependent variable, I mean memory amount. And this type of temperature problem is an extraneous variable. Or some sound, somebody shouting there, noise, extraneous variable. That will be controlled. If you want to know something about the relationship between dependent and independent variable, then the extraneous variable to be controlled. So now here you have to identify the manipulate and control the variables. And fourthly, to formulate the design. The design is a blueprint of the procedures adopted by the researcher. There are several kinds of experimental design. And here the types of variables to be controlled and manipulated, as well as often the conditions under which the experiment is to be conducted, that has to be ensured through a good design. The main purpose of the experimental design is to help the researcher in manipulating the independent variables freely and to provide maximum control of the external variable, so that it may be said that with all certainty the experimental change is due to only the manipulation of independent variable or experimental variable. A faulty design may derive misleading findings. So here the design should be such that the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable should be clear cut, should be unquestionable. The effects of other relevant variables like external variable should be minimized. And next one is constructing devices for measurement, that is the tools. What are the appropriate tools you are using? If the, or if say the questionnaire or the interview schedule you are using should be appropriate. If the ready-made tools are not available, the researchers may develop appropriate tools before undertaking a study. So all the tools should be in a way to collect data by asking for information from the person. And the next is sample selection. So here you do the tools or questionnaires. Then you are going to take the sample. As I told you there earlier, your findings should come from specific to general. This means when you make a study, you have to speak for the general. So when you want to speak for the general, I mean for all, then you have to take a sample which properly represent the population. So we take a small sample because we cannot take big one because there is limitation. But a small sample should be a representative sample. The participants could be children, adolescents, college students, or managers, or clinical patients. But we have decided how the tools to the admission to collect data, that individual or group, to be done. So how the samples can be selected. So while collecting data, how the data is relevant, done on the samples, how effectively data is collected, all these things. And then next step is data analysis and the interpretation. After making observation or collecting data, we are now going to analyze the data with the help of various quantitative or statistical and qualitative techniques. So we must now make an data analysis with quantitative and qualitative methods. So now the purpose of analysis is to throw light on the problem. From the data, we will get light idea on the problem you have taken up. And also we can speak something on hypothesis, which you have taken as a prediction, presumption. So you can use here t-test or f-test or a multivariate analysis or bivariate analysis, anything you can do. So we can analyze the data. After getting data, as I told you earlier, the data could be analyzed by using the parametric statistics or non-parametric statistics. Data we get and we interpret. And we interpret whether data is supporting the hypothesis or negating or opposing the hypothesis. If the hypothesis is null hypothesis is accepted, other hypotheses are rejected. If null hypothesis is rejected, other alternate hypothesis is accepted. So we speak on that. Lastly, you draw a conclusion. You made a study, and in the study that happened, the conclusion study is this. This conclusion of the finding or the new finding could be creating a new theory, or the finding could support the findings earlier made, and it could be generalized. And lastly, you after getting the data and making conclusion, you make a report writing. So a researcher documents all the steps of the research in clear terms. The reports inform what you have done, what you have discovered, what is your conclusion. This helps the reader. Anybody who reads your report, this helps to understand the study and the use of the various purpose. It allows one to replicate the study. One should make a report. Others should read, they can replicate. And the authenticity will come up. The publication of the study in scientific journals or books and in public domain makes the work available for wider dissemination, wider consultation, or wider application. Now the question is, what is the importance of research in psychology? The research is well recognized in every span of life. So research has notable progress in the field of organizational behavior, in field of applied aspects of human beings, in medical sciences and education, and through application of psychological research findings also. So research has relevance in all the fields. Empirical and theoretical researches in psychology are taking place in various fields, whether learning, motivation, perception, etc. Practical gains of psychological research are many. They include discoveries like improved methods of teaching or treating psychologically. New treatments are developing in effective ways because of the result of research. Better designs of vehicles to make them easier and safe to use. New ways of enhancing the performance and happiness of our workers. Similarly, in psychological researches, experimental methods are widely used. Therefore, nature of majority of psychological research is highly scientific. Psychologists have developed effective experimental techniques which have helped them to isolate effects of other variables from independent variables. Thus, in psychological researches, rigorous scientific norms and statistical methods are applied in collection, organization, description, and analysis of data. By turning psychological fact into quantitative form, the nature of most of the psychological researches remains now method oriented. Therefore, it has much relevance contribution to the society, to the public in general. So the first chapter is over. The part is over. Now I come to the second unit, reliability and validity. I told you earlier, the method you are using should be reliable, the data should be reliable. We are using the term reliability, validity very often. What is that? So when you do research, we have particular goals, basically two goals. We have two goals. Number one, you want to obtain information relevant to your purpose of study. You have a purpose and you want to get information relevant to your purpose. Number two, you have to collect the information, not only collecting information, but to collect information with maximum reliability and validity. So now see, you have to two things. You have to collect information about your purpose. Number two, that too the information you are collecting should be reliable, should be valid. Thus, the reliability and validity are central issues in all measurement. So now you are using the instruments, and how are you sure that instrument will measure what is supposed to measure, and what are it measuring in a consistent way or not? That is indicating your validity and reliability. Reliability is, although the idea behind reliability is that any significant result is repeatable. Anything not repeatable, not reliable, it must be repeatable. And the reliability indicates the consistency of your measurement or the degree to which an instrument measures the same way each time under the same condition with the same subjects. And the consistency. In short, reliability is the repeatability of the measurement. According to Anastasia, reliability refers to consistency of scores obtained by the individual on different occasions. According to Guilford, reliability is the proportion of the true variance in obtained test scores. Each score or each thing has a true variance and error variance. Reliability increases when the error is decreasing. So the true variance indicating reliability. So now, how do we measure reliability? The methods for estimating reliability or the methods of estimating reliability. I'll come to methods. So reliability is consistency. So now I want to say you, are you now, I'm going to tell you, I'm only speaking. I want to also know that whether you are following this or not. I'm giving you some very small examples of reliability. When you're choosing friends, you find some friends that are more reliable. You have many secret things to say, many secrets in your mind. Do you tell your secrets to all the friends? No. You tell your secrets to only to some reliable friend or to a friend who is reliable. So who is that friend who is reliable? He has consistency. He will never leak out your secret. He is consistent. And you repeat also in different occasion. You have got to prove that he has been consistent by not leaking out your secret. So you say you're a reliable friend. So the reliability indicates simply the consistency. So now how can you measure it? So the measuring, are you not clear? Are you able to know the concepts? Any response from the student side? Are you all following the concepts? No response. Are you all hearing me or not?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Bhagyasri, are you responding?
Yes, sir.
Uh, are you
Yes, sir.
clearly
Yes, sir.
following or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Bhagyasri, Samarpita, but you are
Yes.
late response. You are all making late response, a late comer, late responder. You will be quick. Kiran, following?
Yes, sir.
Acha. Sarangi, Rucha Sarangi. Somebody came like Rucha Sarangi, following also.
Yes, sir.
Rucha,
Yes, sir.
oh, good. Okay, it's good that I'm coming to the methods. How to estimate reliability? So the reliability is measured in two ways. One is external consistency procedure linked with the external methods or externally available informations. Another is internal consistency procedure. I'll tell you what is external consistency procedure. This external consistency procedure has 2-3 methods. That is, one is test retest method, to which you call as test retest reliability. Suppose you made a test on some group of students. Suppose I made a test on all of you as a group. After some time, again I gave the same test. I repeated the test and I compared the result of both the occasions. The result is same, similar, highly correlated. Then we can say there is a test retest reliability. This means the test is repeated. The result on repetition is the same. You say it's more reliable. That is test retest reliability. And the test consists the items which are external items. When the items are repeated and you are measuring the relationship, correlation. Taking the correlation. You know the correlation, Pearson's correlation, Pearson R, total moment correlation, you know. You make the correlation. If the correlation is high, then you say it's reliable. There is another way of testing reliability. That's not a test. That is a parallel form. You don't repeat the test. If you repeat the test, you can say that somebody is remembering the content. It will be influencing the result also in the second test. The same thing repeated. There may be an effect, carryover effect. So you can make another type of test, that is parallel form. You don't repeat the test, but you make two type of test, two parallel form, two similar tests. These two similar tests are called parallel form test. You give two tests, this test, that test, and now you correlate the results. If the correlation is high, you can say high reliability. Now you see, in test technique, in parallel form technique, we are depending on external contingencies, or external, that is indicating external consistency. Externally, how it is consistent. Test, again retest. Externally, how it is consistent. One form, then another form, parallel form. How it is consistent. So here, this way we can measure this, but there are also other limitations. So this approach, test, as I told you, it has some demerits or limitations like memory effect or carryover effect. Also, it has a limitation like practice effect. You do it, again you do it, practice effect. Also, you are having another problem like absence. You are doing a test, if you repeat, some may go away, some may do not stay. They keep absent. So absence is a problem also. So in the parallel form also, there are some problems like this. The contents may be different or difficult to make an equivalent form of test. There is one test platform or one test content, difficult to make another test which is parallel or equivalent. So looking at all these things, we are going to see about the internal consistency procedures. In internal consistency procedure, we have three tests which are actually indicating the internal consistency between the items. The idea behind internal consistency procedure is that items measuring same phenomenon should produce similar results. Following internal consistency procedures are commonly used for estimating reliability. Number one, split half reliability. In this method, you are taking a list of items, and here you make the list half and half, or you can say split half. You make the items half, and then simply take the correlation between these two half scores. So now see the advantage. You are making only one list, You take a list, one list on the same person also. Now this list you divide it randomly into two parts. You randomly divide means number one this side, number two that side, number three this side, number four that side, alternatively or randomly you divide in two parts. And both the parts are given to be tested on the same person. And the scores you get from the both these tests, which are half and half, and now you correlate. So when the item list is long, you get the correlation as a good index of reliability. When the list of items is small, then you make one correction. That is Spearman-Brown's formula is used, and the formula is R is equal to 2 RR 2HS divided by 1 plus RHS. That is the formula in the book. You can see by applying formula, you get the correlation. The second method of internal consistency is the Cooder-Richardson estimates of reliability. Here, the coefficient of internal consistency could be also obtained by using KR20 method or Cooder-Richardson formula number 20. So one of the techniques for the item analysis is item difficulty index. Because the item difficulty is a proportion or percentage of those answering correctly to an item. Some may correctly answer, some may not correctly answer. So that indicates the item difficulty. And just to determine the item difficulty, and after getting the item difficulty, you apply the formula KR20 n by n minus 1 into 1 by 1 minus sigma PQ by Sandstone square. The formula given in the book. You apply the formula and you get this value of correlation or value of reliability. The third technique is Cronbach's alpha technique on internal consistency, proposed by Cronbach 1951, subsequently followed by many others. Here the coefficient alpha may be thought of as the mean of all possible speed up coefficients, and the formula is given also. The coefficient of alpha extends to types of tests with items that are not 0 or 1 as was used in KR technique. It can be applicable to all. So now these are three techniques like split half, like KR, and like Cronbach alpha. These three techniques are giving reliability index through internal consistency approach. So here, as you see that the iterator technique like the external consistency, test parallel form, they have much benefits. They have also some difficulties as well, because difficult to test a long list of items and the time taking also. On the other hand, the split up technique or Cronbach's alpha technique is very less time consuming, same person, same list of item, and instantly you can get the reliability index. So it is more usable. So now we could tell about reliability. What reliability is, what are the criteria of reliability, and how reliability can be tested, how can be external agency and internal contingencies, external contingency and internal contingencies or consistency can be the basis on which you are going to measure the reliability. Now come to validity. So reliability indicates consistency, but validity refers to the degree to which a test measures what it claims to measure. So validity indicates whether you are going to measure what you really want to measure. It is very necessary for a test to be valid for the proper administration and interpretation. So according to Cronbach, validity is the extent to which a test measures what it purports to measure. So now, the validity is more important because when we are going to test something, it must appear as if it is testable, but appear to be valid. Now see, sometimes you see something. Suppose you are going to get an answer to your question from a teacher without speaking on that point of your query. He was telling all these things which are unlinked. So what you say that the discussion is not valid. So not valid means not relevant. So validity indicates your relevance. So validity, so now see, validity, reliability, how they are different. Validity indicates whether the test is measuring what it really wants to measure. Suppose you are having a test to measure aptitude and you are using the classroom examination. The classroom test is a test which is measuring achievement, not aptitude. So the classroom test is not valid for aptitude test. So test is valid only when it measures what it wants to measure. Reliability is a consistency. It is measuring the same thing repeatedly, same reliability. So validity is the beginning term. Whether it measures what it wants to measure. Reliability indicates it is measuring same thing or not repeatedly. So reliability indicates consistency. Validity indicates relevance. Are you getting me? The distinction? Many people get the confusion. Are you clear about these differences?
Sir, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ example ଦେଇକି କହିବେ difference ଟା.
Coach. Very good. For example, tomorrow suppose you are going to make a test. You want to make a test on intelligence. So you are doing a test on intelligence. The questions are set like your opinion. Whether you love your father, whether you love your mother, whether you love this flower, whether you worship this god. These questions. Yeah, are the questions relevant to intelligence? So such questions are in the such type of questions in this list. They are not relevant for intelligence. Such terms are relevant for attitudes. Your love for father, love for flower, or for attitude. So the contents are not relevant. This means the test is not valid. Are you clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear now.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but now the reliable, you see, reliability is some of the aspects. Suppose you are testing in one test, you found in examination of class test, you make an examination half yearly. In half yearly, suppose Bhagyasri is secured 95. In annual, she again secured 96. This means the result is consistent, reliable. So you can say that Bhagyasri is really number one or doing very well because the result is consistent. So the result is consistent means it's having reliability. Could you get me? So
Yes, sir.
reliability, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So reliability, validity, you have to be very clear. The two different terms. And reliability is measured by external contingencies, consistencies, and internal consistency. But variability, validity is of many types, very difficult to term. It is of 6 types. There are 6 types of validity. Number one, content validity. Number one, content validity. Suppose you are going to make appear a test. This test is measuring about your ancient glory of India. So now see, suppose I am going to test on ancient glory of India. How was the Indian administration, or what are the culture, or what are the civic system, what are the people index of happiness in ancient days, like that. But the content, the words there, nothing is remaining, nothing is portraying, nothing is relating to ancient culture. Nothing is mentioned about Mahabharata, about Ramayana, or about the ancient heroes and or ancient kings. Nothing. The contents are only giving names of Mahatma Gandhi or Nehru or this any Indira Gandhi or in this any ruling or this Vajpayee, like that. So now the question is the content itself not having any ancient link, or the items are not valid. Could you get me now that? But the content should be valid or will be valid only when it is reflecting our purpose. So you can say when a test has a content validity, the items of the test represent the entire range of possible items the test should cover. For instance, if researcher wants to develop an achievement test of spelling for the third grade children, the researchers could identify nearly all the possible words that third grade children should know. So individual test items may be taken from a huge group of items that include a broad range of items. So now see, suppose you are going to make a test on third grade children about spelling of different items. Then you have to put such words and you have to cover such area on spellings of third grade children. This means the content should be ensuring that your query is here included. That is content validity. Clear? Then I come to criterion validity. So criterion means so one valid test should closely relate to the theoretical concepts. For example, a valid test of intelligence should correlate highly with other intelligence tests also. If a test demonstrates effective or effectively predicting criterion or indicators of the construct, it is said to possess criterion relative validity. This means one intelligence test and another intelligence test may be different tests, but the criteria is to measure the intelligence and both are correlated. And these criterion validity can be of two types. One is concurrent validity, the other is predictive validity. The concurrent validity reflects the degree to which the test scores estimate the initial present status with regard to criteria. For example, suppose you are going to have a test to measure anxiety. So you can say the test is having concurrent validity if it is rightly reflecting the current level of anxiety of the individual. So you are testing the anxiety in a test, and that items you are seeing and you are telling it is your own anxiety. Then you say, yes, yes, it is having concurrent validity. Could you get me? Are you able to understand or not? Suppose you are going to see a list of items on anxiety, and anxiety patients are having this, and you are suffering anxiety, and you are saying you are also having this. Then you can easily say that you are having, then this list is having concurrent validity. The other one is predictive validity. The predictive validity occurs when criteria measures are obtained at a time after the test. For example, suppose I am doing an aptitude test to identify whether this person will be more likely to succeed or fail in a particular subject. So now I did one aptitude test. I found someone is having good aptitude. For example, the aptitude is high of a person. Now I was given a test letter and also he did very well. So now we can say if the aptitude is high, you can predict that he can do well. But if you predict the aptitude high but not doing well, then you can say not valid. So if when one person is having good aptitude scores, then naturally it helps us to predict that he will do very well in the test, in the examination. So that indicates predictive validity. When there will be predictive value. And the next item or next test of validity is constant validity. So we came to content validity, we came to content validity. Now you come to construct validity. So construct validity approach is a very complex approach than other forms of approach. It is more complex than other forms of validity. There are several ways to determine Actually, it is defined that the constant of validity as the property of a test is a measurement which actually measures the construct they are designed to measure. This means the test is measuring. It is designed to measure this, whether it is measuring that or not. About the design methodology, the test is designed to measure this, whether it is measuring that or not. That construct is being measured or not. So, the constant of validity indicates the actuality of measures of the constructs that are designed to measure. With regard to this constant of validity, the test should actually measure whatever theoretical constructs it supposedly test. Example, a test of leadership ability should not actually test extra person. So we are going to measure the test of leadership ability. The leader is also an extrovert. But our purpose is to measure the leadership ability, not extraversion. So the test we are going to do, whether it is going to measure the construct, I mean leadership ability or not correctly. Similarly, a test that has constant validity should measure what it intends to measure, but not measure theoretically unrelated constructs. For example, a test of musical aptitude should not require too much reading ability. You are going to measure on musical aptitude, then it should not require any information about reading ability, because our test is to measure musical ability. So which is unrelated should not be measured. Thirdly, a test should prove useful in predicting results related to theoretical concepts it is measuring. Example, for a test of musical ability should predict who will benefit from taking music lessons. There are two types of constant validity. One is the convergent validity, other is divergent validity. The convergent validity or the convergent constant validity means the extent to which a measure is correlated with other measures which is theoretically predicted to correlate this. So here the measure that we are using is correlated with other measures which are theoretically predicted to correlate. And the second one is discriminant validity. Here, the express the extent to which the operations in which the operationalization is not correlated with other operationalization that is theoretically should not be correlated with. So here discriminant, because convergent links with the related concepts, and discriminant currently related to differentiate unrelated concepts. The next type of validity is, next one is face validity. So content validity, criterion validity, constant validity, then we come to face validity. The face validity is very simple, whether it appears to be valid or not. I am not giving one very my experience. It will make you a bit humorous also. You must be getting bored. After hearing this, you'll be happy. When I was a student of Banivir in 1971, I was a student in Banivir. And in Banivir, there was a community center. The doctor was there. Dr. Mishra was the good doctor there. He is a complete bald man. He was coming with a cap, as I do also. So what happened? In Banivir, one of my friends developed a great stress by rapid hair falling. He was quickly getting bald. That day very young people wear, and in the young adult stage, falling hair causes a lot of anxiety and stress. And that friend asked me to go to the doctor. We both went, and he went to the doctor, and he told the doctor, "Sir, I'm getting this, my hair is falling. I'm getting this stress." Yes, the doctor told, "Okay, you do this, do that, all these things." Then through the interaction, the doctor got his cap out. He removed his cap. So when the cap was removed, then the friend saw that he is completely bald. Then he came out. I told, what happened? And I don't want to take medicine. Why? And the doctor doesn't know how to say this. Now he himself is a bald person. He has no hair. How can he put in my hair? So could you know? But the doctor is having no face validity. The doctor is having no face validity because he has no hair. How can he say about giving my hair? It's a joke, but it's a fact. But the face validity indicates the items you are using or the questions you are using. It must be modified in such a way that it will be looking like a test on that. So face validity is a face value. And the last one is internal validity. And internal validity is very fundamental type of validity. It concerns the logic of the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. This type of validity is an estimate of the degree to which inferences about the causal relationship can be drawn based on the measures employed and such design. So internal validity indicates the effective causal relationship. However, there are many threats to the internal validity, like confounding, relational bias, history, maturation, repeated testing, instrumental change, regression towards the mean, mortality, diffusion, compensatory rivalry, and experimental bias. These are all there. Threats to internal validity. Confounding means when an error occurs, when effects of two variables in an experiment cannot be separated. As I gave you an example of memory experiment, testing memory in a classroom. There is noise or hot, no fan moving. So now the attendance variable and the name variable, they are mixed and it is confounding. When we are not able to control the sound or noise, not able to control the hot or the temperature, then that is confounding and mixed with the other variable. So confounding variable is a threat to the internal validity. Also bias, when you are selecting the group, if the selection bias is there, there will be validity will be affected. Suppose you are going to select the group, There should be no bias in selection. So, thirdly, in history, the events outside the experiment may influence participants' responses, like natural disaster, political change, all these things, they can affect it. Then maturation also. Suppose the test is very long, very much having longitudinal study, is a prolonged study. So when you start with, at the ending time, a lot of days have passed. So in the meantime, you have got maturated. So the maturation, you have been mature. In the meantime, you are mature. Suppose you are making a study when you are reading in class 6 and study compared to the class 11. Now fine. In the meantime, the child has been mature. So longitudinal study that affected by maturation effects. Then repeated testing. So by repeated testing, one may be biased also. So by repeated testing, one may remember correct answers. Therefore, this may cause possibility of threat to internal validity because you know the correct answer, the result will be affected. Then the instrumental change, if the instruments are replaced or changed during experiment, this may also affect internal validity. During the experiment also, subjects are selected on the basis of extreme scores. There then chances of an error. So if there is an improvement, chances are that it would be due to regression towards the mean. So now when there is extreme score, there would be the chance of regression. Then mortality also. Some people also are absent. They also mortality. They all die. They also absent. So test becomes inconclusive. Then diffusion also. It might be observed as there will be lack of difference between experimental and control groups. If treatment effects spread from treatment groups to control groups, there will be diffusion. The treatment effect from this to this, if it is spreading, there will be diffusion. That also affects. Then compensatory rivalry. There will be change in the behavior of subject in the control group, alter as a result of the study. If the control group is changing, then the result will be affected. For instance, control group participants may work extra hard to see that expected superiority of the experimental group is not demonstrated. Control group may try with extra energy to overcome or to be equal with the experimental group. Then the result will be affected. The compensatory rivalry. Lastly, there is experimental bias. Sometimes experimenters have bias, and here you know that some experimenters, when they're doing experiments, suppose you are doing experiments on white rat and wild rat, then you are biased that the white rats are docile and white rats are good. So any wild rat's performance you will underestimate. Similarly, also experimental bias. Suppose a person coming from very rich family, coming from poor family, the teacher may behave in different way because of experimental bias. Or suppose somebody is coming with a good dress, somebody coming in ugly form, the experimenter may also be biased with the person having good dress, good background, or good beauty. That's the experimental bias. The experimenter may be more pro towards beautiful things. So these things are experimental bias which affects the internal validity are called threats to internal validity. The last validity type is external validity. And external validity concerns whether results can be generalized to another situation or not, whether the result you are getting you can generalize to another situation, to other subjects or other settings. That applicability is concerned with external validity. External validity lies from the fact that experiments using human participants often employ small samples so that you cannot be sure that the conclusions drawn could really correctly manifest the cause-effect relationship. Therefore, the sample is large, then the validity will be more. Then the threats to externality or the limitations to externality, number one, that is aptitude, treatment, interaction. This means the sample might have some features that may interact with the independent variable, causing to limit generalizability. For instance, conclusion drawn from comparative psychotherapy or studies mostly use specific samples like volunteers or highly depressed hardcore criminals. So any conclusion, any finding from them, if you just go to generalize, then that is also having this problem, because that is not, may not be the factual things. Then the second thing is situation, all external factors. For example, treatment conditions, light, noise, location, timing, scope, all these things may limit generalization. So now see, number one, collection from hardcore people are not suitable for generalization. And collection from different factors are also limit generalization. Thirdly, pre-test effects, when the cause-effect relationship can only be found out after the pre-test are carried out. This also tends to limit the generality of the findings. For everything there is a pre-test. So pre-test effect should tell you generalization. That is very difficult and also not possible. Limited. The next is post-test effects. When cause-effect relationship can only be explored after the post-test. This can also be a cause for limiting generalization. Then lastly, Rosenthal effect. When derivations drawn from the cause-consequence relationship can be generalized to other investigators or researchers. When you get something, cannot be generalized to other investigators. It is called also Rosenthal effect. So these are threats to external validity. Thus, we completed the portion validity. So now the validity are like this. It could be content validity, it could be criterion validity, it could be content validity, it could be internal validity, it could be external validity. So like this, there are so many types of validities. And as I told you earlier, validity indicates whether a test is measuring what it seems to measure or what it intends to measure. And all these 6 ways indicate whether the test is really measuring what it had to measure. So thereby we complete the reliability, validity, how to measure or how to make a test, and what are the basic process of research, the concept of research, all these things. So now can call to variables and constants. So we know in an experiment or a study, when are going to do something, there are some variables. Variables are varying or changing circumstances, changing conditions. These variables can be many types, like independent variables, by dependent variables, like extraneous variables, so many variables. A study mainly or research mainly wants to get the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. And in the independent variable is known as the cause of any experiment or any change. And dependent variable can be called as the amount of change or the effect of change. So build two variables. Independent variable is the cause and dependent variable is the effect. So our study, the research or the study intends to find out the amount of relationship between the cause and effect or independent variable and dependent variable. In the meantime, while you are going to do a study or while you are conducting a study, many different variables are also intervening. They are like extraneous variables. And those intervening variables are also relevant variables, and they have their effect on the test result. So when we are going to conduct a study or when we are going to conduct a research or investigate something, our prime duty is to control the conditions that are going to affect the variables. So that we call as controlled variables. So I will tell you, because it is 11:30 now, going to be 11:30. So should we break it here? Should we stop it? Should we stop now?
Sir, can you complete variables?
Yes,
All
sir.
type of variables, then stop.
We'll complete variables.
Yes.
Time taking. Okay.
Uh,
So you remember after 12, we have different subjects also. Not this one.
Statistics.
Yes, but your mind is now. I don't want to make your mind packed. So relax, and all the students are getting. They get bored. They got. They get. Overpressed. They say their mind is loaded when they are going on a statistics lessons. So are you now free? So therefore, the gap is given. Anyway, if you like, I can go on that. But be sure if you want the gap or go, you have to go for that. Anyway, the variables, if you are insisting on that, I can go for another 4-5 minutes. The variables, the meanings of variables, as you know, which varies or something which varies called a variable. The types of variables are stimulus variables, number one, stimulus variables or organism variables, and response variables. And the stimulus variables, as you know, they are the causes of behavior. The theoretical model, that SOR model, the symbol SOR represent different categories of variables. So S is the stimuli, O is the organism, and R is the response variable. So now see, that is called SOR model. And the S model, a stimulus variable is some form of energy in the environment, like light, to which the organism is sensitive. So now the stimulus is light. The O is organism, is sensitive to that. And the light may create anxiety or make also increase the height bit. But light may make him very much anxious or irritated. Then the R the response. This response is how the organism, how the action indicated from the organism, I mean how the behavior is evolving. Suppose the behavior is a pressing lever. So now you can see how the response, because of the SO, stimulus and organism changes, how the R is being affected. So now the SR model, using this SR model, the electric shock would be called stimulus variable. The intensity of shock would be the value of the variable. The particular state of the organism would be measured by the organism variables. For example, the skin resistance of the rat at the time of shock would be the organism variable, and the response variable would be the latency or the elapsed time to the onset of the shock when the rat reaches the platform. So these are all ASR model implications. Also the variables, as I told you, independent variable and dependent variable. And here the dependent upon the mode of manipulation, they have tried to divide the independent variables into type E independent variable or type S independent variable. The type E independent variable is one variable, or is one of which is directly or experimentally manipulated by the experimenter, and type S independent variable is one which is manipulated through the process of selection only. For example, the experimenter wants to study the effect of noise upon the task performance of in an industry. Here the independent variable is the noise, and the DB, dependent variable, is the task performance. They manipulate the noise by dividing it into three categories. It could be continuous noise, it could be intermittent noise, and it could be no noise also. And examine all the tasks on these three conditions upon task performance. And here the noise is directly manipulated by the experimenter. Hence, we call this as type E independent variable. And a dependent variable, and the type S variable, that is the age factor, all these things. So here actually you range the 16 to 15 years. Subsequently, you will compare the rate of production obtained by each group, and finally conclude the rate of each group of different age. You compare. So finally, whether or not age is a factor in enhancement of the performance, this could be age independent variable. because sometimes you find the study result different in the adolescent and adults. So now say this is age effect, that is age independent variable, and there is one dependent variable, that this is the variable, the factor that appears or disappears or varies as the experimental conditions changes.
सर क्लास 5 कभी होते सर
कौन ला कौन ला
क्लास 12 सारे होती
जो बंद कर ठीक अच्छी
आगे
will make meet at 12. She told, because I'm telling I'll take another 2 minutes to complete this portion. Anyway, will you stay for 2 minutes more? Anyway, we'll come at 12. Go.
थैंक यू सर
Okay. No. No.